Humans live with a subtle but constant sensation that there's something missing. They are not trying to enjoy life, they are trying to escape a discomfort that they don't understand.
We're trying to fill an emptiness within ourselves. It's like an addiction, but nothing is ever enough. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us again. And this is episode 3 of the Isha Judd podcast. I was talking to Elizabeth and she said to me, we're going to discuss why humans are never satisfied. So thank you for joining me, Elizabeth. It's lovely to have you here again.
Yeah. Hello, fans. I'm back again. And this time we're going to discuss something very, very, very important. It's about why humans never seem to be satisfied. I was very excited to get invited back because really I'm enjoying these podcasts and I'm seeing that even I am more in the present moment, observing more so I can find new and interesting subjects for all of you. So today I was walking with mommy. We go down to the beach, and the beach, it's usually very, very quiet. We can hear the waves, feel the wind, the rustling of the trees. But now we're in holiday time and the beach is absolutely full of people. I love people because they're my fans and they come and pat me and tell me how wonderful I am. But apart from that, they're very, very noisy. But the thing that I notice the most is even when they go to the beach to have a swim, they bring so many things. They have umbrellas and boxes and shiny screens and noisy things. And I really don't understand. They have so much food and so much paper, and they're never quiet. They don't even sometimes go for a swim. And really, I was asking my mom, I was saying, Isha, why do humans have to have so much stuff? And I also notice that they're always staring into these shiny little screens like it's the beginning and the end of the world. All of them, they're locked in there in front of the ocean, staring at the shiny screens. And I also noticed the other day when Mummy asked one of her gauchos if it was going to rain, he didn't look at the sky. He looked at his shiny screen. And there was actually drops of rain falling.
You're right, Betsy, and it is very, very funny. We no longer look at the sky. We no longer swim in the sea. Quite often, we're locked in our shiny little screens trying to organize our whole lives. And another thing that's very true is we have much too much stuff. And we think that stuff is going to give us status, or it's going to fulfill us, or it's going to make our lives more comfortable. And what it does in reality is when we have excessive amounts, is it just creates more noise, more problems, and more separation from intimate relationships with ourselves and with the world. You know, I remember when I lived in Colombia and I used to see the children playing on the beach with a coconut, and they'd be kicking the coconut around the beach as if it was a super football, and they'd be having so much fun and laughing and playing. And now, as children start to get older, they have to worry about what type of shoes they have, what type of football they have, what type of shirt they wear, who's their favorite player. Everything becomes more and more complex in our modern world. The more we travel, the more the internet opens us up to so many mysteries and so much that we can attain and achieve, we stop enjoying the simple things in life. And it was extremely funny when I asked the gaucho if he thought there was going to be a lot of rain, and he looked in his phone and it had already started raining. And that just shows how disconnected we are. Gauchos used to be very focused in nature. They work with the animals, but not anymore. Everyone's living in their phones. Everyone has an idea of what they need to have, where they need to go, and who they need to be, instead of just enjoying being themselves. So basically, we've lost our innocence. And we also buy so many things and accumulate so much stuff because we're trying to fill an emptiness within ourselves. It's like an addiction, but nothing is ever enough.
Okay. So what you're saying is that humans live with a subtle but constant sensation that there's something missing, that they are missing something. They eat when the body's not hungry. Well, that I understand. They buy when there's no real need. They scroll when there is nothing of interest. They speak when there's no one listening, because they are not trying to enjoy life. They are trying to escape a discomfort that they don't understand. And addiction, you tell me, is not just substances. Addiction is any movement that tries to avoid being in the present moment. Please, Isha, explain to me what this means.
Well, the thing is, Betsy, that when we come into the present moment, we have to start healing what lies underneath. And most people don't like who they are. So they really don't want to look at themselves deeply. They'd rather present to the world how they think they should be by having a fancy car, a big property, designer clothes. They try to define themselves through what they're doing and achieving instead of that profound quietness of being, which is where the wisdom lies. People that are truly comfortable within themselves don't need to demonstrate all the time that they have worth because they don't even think about that. They're at peace within themselves. And that's greatness. That's what we're looking for. And as we get into that space of internal power, we try to simplify our lives, Betsy. We want less clutter, less distraction, more silent time. We don't need to demonstrate. And we don't need to stare inanely into our telephones trying to escape our own minds. We start to enjoy nature and creation. We let go of our childish toys and stop demonstrating them to our friends to prove how lucky we are.
But what happens if people really want something? Like, for example, when I go to the beach and I see a stick coming in and out on a wave, I really want to grab that stick. And I jump in the water and I grab the stick. And then you try to take it from me, and I will not give it to you because it's my stick.
Betsy, that's okay. It's okay to have a stick. It's okay to play. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. It's good to enjoy things, but you have one stick. You don't ask me for a forest. And this is what happens with adults. They can't enjoy simple things. They always have to have more and more and more because they're trying to fill an emptiness inside. And once we see that, everything starts to change. For example, you travel with me all the time and we walk through duty free. And some people are going on holidays, and before they even leave, they've filled up 3 baskets of stuff to take on their trip. And you tell me, Betsy, what are they going to do with all that stuff? We put everything in cupboards, we fill up the fridge. We've always got such an excess of everything. It's like we feel that we have to fill everything up. And it's nice to have nice things. It's nice to have a nice home. But often people just compulsively buy without even considering what they're going to do with it all. And another thing is humans love a bargain. So if they go into duty free, instead of buying one, they'll buy three. But they still don't consider, do I need this? And what am I going to do with it?
And I also know something about you, Isha. When we walk on the beach, you're often picking up lots of plastic bags, and you say it's very, very important to be environmentally conscious because these plastic bags are very dangerous for the sea life. And I help you do that. So, what do these people do with all these bags and all these boxes and all of these things that they accumulate? How do we recycle all that? Where do we put all of that?
Everything can be recycled, Betsy, but we have to be conscious of what we're buying and where we're discarding it. You know, on the beach, we don't just pick up plastic bags, we pick up every little piece of plastic because it's dangerous for the marine life. But also, when we throw the rubbish out from the house, it's very important that we remember to put it in the recycling containers because what we can recycle, we'll be able to use again. Often people just throw things out the windows, throw them on the streets, don't put them in the right bin. And what happens? They all go into this big waste pile, into the environment, and they cause damage. So that's another responsibility that humans have. It's one thing to consume, 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 but we have to also consider Mother Nature because it's Mother Nature that gives us everything. Without Mother Nature, we don't have anything to eat. We don't have anything to consume. We don't have air to breathe. And these things are very important for conscious people.
Yeah, it's like when I do poo-poo on the beach, you always put it into a bag. And you tell me it's very, very important because otherwise the other humans come and step on it.
All of these things are about conscious living, Betsy. It's not just about what we consume and what we buy. I don't have a problem with people having wonderful things. We all want wonderful things. But sometimes we have to see when it's just an addiction that never satisfies us. Eating too much, consuming too much, throwing things away irresponsibly, only caring about ourselves and not everyone else. You know, at some point, we have to become responsible global citizens, not just individuals that take care of themselves. And the more conscious we become, the more capable we are of being global, of thinking globally. And another thing that's very important, to enjoy simple things. Because really, the world is an incredible playground. Nature's an incredible playground. But are we enjoying it? Are we actually seeing it? Or are we just watching it on the television? Do we take time to actually walk in nature, to go to the beach, to have deep conversations with each other? Or are we too busy looking at Instagram, not going into nature, and not having intimate conversations? It's very much that humans have to stop this need to consume and consume and consume and not be present and not to enjoy reality. Because staring into the shiny screen, as you call it, it's a great utility for work, but to be living inside that screen doesn't enhance our personal relationships, doesn't enhance anything in our lives in the big picture.
So basically, what you're saying is we already have enough, and we have to see that we have enough. We can add some things, but we don't need to add some much. And another thing I feel that you're saying, that when we spend time in nature, we should leave the place nicer than when we found it. And that's our responsibility to look after the nature. Is that correct? And I have one other question for you. Now that we were talking about duty free, I was thinking that now that I'm star quality, maybe I could fly in business because I find that the economy is a little bit cramped.
Okay, Betsy, we'll talk about that later, yes? Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please push like or subscribe, and I'll see you next week for episode 4. I'm Isha Judd, and
And I'm Betsy.